Hello everyone and welcome to Caroline's Craft Tree. Today I would just like to share with you a little project that I am doing for Lindsay over at Nevermore Creation 17. And it is using her May Journal Page Club for 2022. It's mostly nature and floral themed, and I'm just going to do a little project with them. She says by the end of the month there'll be over 60 pages, and if you use the coupon code May 20 you get 20% off of the club. So I'm going to show you a few of the papers that I picked and a little project I did with them. So there is one paper, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Try to get a bit of a close-up of that, but just very beautiful. And here is another page, and this page is actually very interesting. I've printed these on 65-pound cardstock that I get at Michael's, and you won't be able to see it, but it's just printed, just normal printer, normal ink, normal cardstock, but it almost shimmers. It's because of the color of it, and the background has like a polka dot pattern, but it is the coolest color ever. So there's that one. Then there is this page, and like I say, these are just a few pages that I like, that I picked out of the May Journal Page Club. And this is the page we're going to do something with today. And then this is what I made. Now I just used, this was one of the papers which I've covered with lace, and you can see the roses behind it, but I've made a little file folder, and then I made a pocket. Now I did a tutorial on a zipper pocket, and I've used the same template that I made for that, except I've just put a little piece of lace. I had these fabric tight butterflies, so I just used those. I put one on the file folder as well. And then just to use up the paper, I made a little tiny journaling card. And then I made two paper ribbons that I put ribbon and this one ribbon and beads on. So just a little project, and I'm just going to show you how I made the lace file folder. I did use the template I made for my zipper pocket template, just because why remake another one when I have one. And this is from my file folder template kit, and I just used it as a template. So using one of the pages from Lindsay's May Journal Club, and I've already drawn on the back the template. Now I just put it down, traced around it, and got that there. So I'm just going to quickly cut this out, and I think I'm going to try and use the other little bits and pieces, because we don't want any to go to waste. Okay, let's cut this down here. I'll leave a tutorial to the zippered pocket. I did that a year or so ago. And this, I'll probably make one of the folded ribbons and then maybe a little tag or something out of that. So let me quickly cut these out and I'll be right back. So I have them cut out, and I also distressed them a little bit there. So let's start with the file folder. We're going to fold it in half, or as best we can in half. I do like to fold it beforehand because I want to see where that crease is. So now I've got two kinds of wider ribbon. Now this is a very pale pink. You probably can't see. It's actually something that I dyed myself. And then I have this cream colored stuff. And I have a lot of wider trims, and I tend not to use them. So I am going to use them in this project. So I'm going to get an idea of how wide I need it and just trim it off there. And the same with the wider stuff. And just give it a little bit of a trim here. Just so I have a little bit easier, smaller piece to work with. So these are really easy to make, and I think they look really cool. So I'm going to put one of these on the bottom and one on the top. Now you don't need a lot of glue. I am going to use art glitter glue. And I'm going to start by just putting a little line of glue right down the center. And this is going to start the holding process for this. And I'm just going to put it down there. The art glitter glue dries nice and clear. I'm not too worried about coming off my paper, because it looks okay when it's like that. So now I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to go just a fair bit along the edge, even though I'm going to sew eventually. I'm not going to sew on camera because it's time consuming when you do hand stitching. Not too much glue, very thin dabs around. And now I'm just going to pull that back. I'm going to stretch this side because it's kind of not gathered, but it's kind of puckered along this one side. And just very lightly I'm going to take my hand and brush it over very, very lightly. So there is that. Now we're going to do the same here. A little bit of glue. Now I found that I didn't have to stitch. Stitching is optional. I like the looks of the stitching, so I will do the stitching eventually. And like I say, it's just very light. I'm just kind of setting my hand there and then dragging it across. So there is that, and I'll trim that off later. Now we're going to put this bigger piece on the top, like so. And I liked it because you can still see the pattern of the paper below. Now you could even make this into a pocket and do with the big wide lace. But I just thought a lace file folder seemed like it would be a good idea. Now this we'll put up top. I'm going to just let it overhang the top a little tiny bit. And again, just very lightly. And then And push this up that way. Whoops. Came off of my seam there. Okay. If you are not gonna sew, I would suggest maybe putting a little more glue. Than what I'm putting down. Our glitter glue does dry very nice, and you can't see it through the lace at all. Put that down, and then just very gently. I'm okay if the lace sticks up a little bit. It gives it a little more extra character. And like I say, you could easily just make a couple pockets with the lace. These look really, really great in a pocket. Or you could use them as a flip in a journal as well. Hope I'm staying in frame. I got kind of a big blob of glue there, so I'm going to wipe that up a little bit. And again, just make it. You can see the glue now, but once it's dry, you're good. So you can see the pattern of the paper, still pretty good inside. Now, I'm not going to trim here or there. You could, but I kind of like just having that little bit of a rough edge from. I'm just going to trim up. Try not to cut my paper. Okay, there's that side. This side's a little bit harder because it's curved. And the lace is a little bit harder to cut into shapes like that. Okay. So there is that. Now, maybe just fold it. Let's get a bone folder here, and let's just do that nice. So there we have a file folder. Now you can cut that off if you want. The other one I didn't, so let's cut this one off just to see what we get when we trim it off. Okay, hopefully you'll try this, and there will be links below to Nevermore Creation 17. And I hope you will check out her clubs that she has. As I say, this one is the May Journal Page Club. Okay. Now that we got a little more shape to it, you could put a couple pages in here and make it into a little booklet. You could put pockets in here, put another piece of lace for pockets. Great for inside. So here is the one that I finished with the stitching. And I could have it this way or this way, and of course I picked this way. But I think they turned out really, really cute. Now the pocket, excuse me, is really easy. I've got some lace here. Same lace as the other one. It's kind of like a rainbowy type. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces a little bit longer than what I need, just to make it easier. And you could use a zipper for this too, like I did in the tutorial on how I made these. But I'm just going to run a little bit of glue right up the edge. I'm going to do 2 stripes to cover the lace. And then I'm just going to glue that down with all the colored parts hanging over. I'm going to make sure that I got it spaced nice. And then again, I'm just going to lightly run my hand over the lace to glue that all down. I'm going to do the same for the other side. 2 fairly thin strips of glue, and that is going to go on top there. Once it catches a little bit, I will turn it over, make sure that it's in where I want it. And you can see I'm going to add a little bit of extra glue down towards the bottom, just so that way it anchors good, even though I will eventually sew around these. Trim those off there and there. Now if you weren't gonna stitch, your pocket's done. Now you could make these any width. I have the template, but I have it more for this part here than I do the actual width. So I could easily put this on the page and add, you know, 1/2 inch on either side, or cut it down a little bit, or cut the size of my pocket and then just use that in there. So even if I wanted it shorter, I could make it shorter. I love this piece of paper. I wish you guys could see how, I think it's the dots on the background that make it kind of almost glimmer, but it's not. So it's very cool. So that's just a little project with these papers. As I say, check out the club on Lindsay's page. Links will be below. And I just thought that it would be a really cute little set. So in a journal, you'd have the file folder. I've got the pocket. I've got a little card and 2 little embellishments that all match to put into a page spread or into a journal itself. A lot of the times I won't actually decorate until I'm going to use the pieces. Then I can kind of put stuff in them that will maybe blend it in with the other journal. I just wanted to have these ones finished just to show you. So these ones I would leave at this stage. I'd probably stitch around them, then leave them at that stage and then decorate when the time came. So check out Lindsay's shop and check out these cool papers. I love that one too. Very, very nice. And we will see you soon in another video. Bye for now.